Okay, this is Dr. Susan, and we're going to try again to have our Facebook Live here on Path to Family to Parenting Harmony, not starting over, here on Monday, March 1st. And today my theme is active listening. What does active listening mean? Doesn't that sound like an oxymoron, where you take two opposite things and push them together? When you're speaking, you have an intention, an idea that you're trying to get across to the other person. You want to have an impact on them. When your intent equals your impact, then we have good communication, right? What does the listener have to do? They're supposed to be receptive. They're supposed to be listening to what the speaker has to say. You can read all about this in lots of marriage books, including several that I've helped write, including Fighting for Your Marriage and 12 Hours to a Great Marriage, one written in 2006 and one written in 2010 by Markman, Stanley, and Blumberg. That's me. But what I want to talk about is the listening side of things. What does active listening mean? It means that you're listening without planning what you're going to say next, not your rebuttal or what you're going to say in your defense. And why is this so important when you're talking from a parent to a child or a teenager? Well, it's incredibly important for several reasons. The first reason is when you just listen with the intention of hearing what the other person has to say, it shows tremendous respect for your partner. And when that's a parent listening to a child, a tween, or a teenager, and you show them the respect of being silent, listening carefully, or actively, as I'm calling it, you are showing them that their opinions, their feelings, and their needs deserve respect, and that's respect you'd like them to show you in return. You're role modeling for them how to be a good listener. And then when it's your turn to speak as the parent, you're expecting them to show you that same respect and to be an active listener in return. So how do we do that? How do we switch our listening mode from, okay, I'm waiting you out and I'm planning my defense, to an active listening mode where I am listening so carefully so that what I'm going to be able to do is repeat back to you everything that you just said to me. That's called paraphrasing, and that's the primary role of the active listener. So when you're the speaker, you have a couple of rules. The first is you should be speaking only about yourself. Now that doesn't mean that you can say, I think you're a jerk, or I think you cleaned the bathroom incorrectly. That's not speaking about yourself. That's blaming and shaming. Instead, you can say, I felt hurt when you did such and such behavior, or I felt upset when you didn't listen to me. You're labeling the behavior of the other person, but what you're talking about are your feelings and how it impacted you. That's a real I statement. Then you're going to stop and pause, and you're going to ask the listener to paraphrase back what they heard you say. The listener then has the opportunity to say, okay, what I heard you say was, you were hurt when you thought I wasn't listening. You were upset when I didn't clean my room properly. That is an example of what my colleagues and I call the speaker-listener technique. And what you have here is a piece of plastic that's printed to look like an old-fashioned piece of linoleum. Now, recently, you've been listening to Congress a good deal, I would imagine. Most of us have. And you've seen them with a gavel, and you've seen them do things like say, Speaker so-and-so has the floor, or Congressman so-and-so has the floor. And this is because they use something called Robert's Rule of Order. It is the rules of how Congress and parliaments in England follow the order of the speaker, and the listener. So we've adapted that to make this look an old-fashioned piece of linoleum, but it's actually a refrigerator magnet, and you can just stick it up. What it has on it is the rules for the speaker, the rules for the listener, as I've just described, and the rules for both, which is that the speaker keeps the floor, the listener just paraphrases, and after a couple of tries, they trade the floor back and forth so they know who is the speaker and who is the listener. You can use anything for a floor. You can use a pen or a pencil. You can use the TV remote control. Now, that's a very powerful object in most homes, right? Whoever's holding that remote, you know they have the authority in that conversation. Now, I don't recommend you use your telephone because if in a moment of anger that gets thrown and breaks, we have a bigger problem, isn't it? But how I want to finish up this conversation is focusing on the fact that it's not the speaker, even though they may hold the floor, they're the one who's speaking the important words here, who really has the most power. I entitled this Facebook Live Active Listening because the person who really has the most power here is the listener. You're the one who's paying the most attention. You're the one who's showing the respect of listening carefully. And you're the one who's going to paraphrase and say, okay, what you're really talking about is that listening to each other is the best way we know to show respect and build the parent-child relationship. It was a pleasure to talk to you on this Monday afternoon in Denver, Colorado. Please let me know what you think of the speaker-listener technique and the role of active listening in parent-child relationships. Please reach out and invite others to join us on Monday afternoons at 1 p.m. Colorado time for these Facebook Lives. I do them every week. And if you have any questions, please let me know what they are. You can always reach me at Dr. Susan Coaching, at Path to Parenting Harmony, this Facebook group, or reach out to me on LinkedIn or Instagram. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.